試験監督者は音量及び室内の聞こえ具合を確認してください。2019年度第1回実用英語技能検定1級リスニングテスト。ただいまから1級リスニングテストを行います。これからお話しすることについて質問は受けませんので、よく注意して聞いてください。なお、リスニングテスト放送中に音飛びや騒音があった場合は、発生した問題のトラックに戻し、やり直します。しかしながら、万が一、教室監督者が気づかない場合は、速やかに手を挙げてお知らせ願います。このテストでは、テストの方法と注意事項がすべて英語で放送されます。
The listening test for the Grade 1 examination is about to begin. Listen carefully to the directions. You will not be permitted to ask questions during the test. This test has 4 parts. All of the questions in these 4 parts are multiple choice questions. For each question, choose the best answer from among the 4 choices written in your test booklet. On your answer sheet, find the number of the question and mark your answer. You are permitted to take notes for every part of this listening test. Now, here are the directions for Part 1. In this part, you will hear 10 dialogues, number 1 through number 10. Each dialogue will be followed by one question. For each question, you will have 10 seconds to choose the best answer and mark your answer on your answer sheet. The dialogue and the question will be given only once.
Now we will begin the Grade 1 listening test. Number 1.
How did the job interview go, honey?
I think they're going to offer me the job, and the potential income seems pretty good, depending on how much I sell. But I just don't know.
What do you mean? It sounds like everything you hoped for.
The company president seems a little obsessed with money. He made it sound like everyone in the world wanted to get rich.
Well, I think most people in the world do want to get rich. What's wrong with that?
It's the way he said it. He even referred to his customers as suckers at one point. He didn't sound sincere to me. I think I'm going to turn it down and keep on looking.
Really? Maybe he was just kidding. I hope you're not throwing away a good opportunity.
Question. What is the woman's concern?
Number 2.
Are you going to the party on Friday night, Sarah?
No, Bob's going to be there.
Oh, yeah. I heard you two broke up.
Not exactly. We were just friends, and then he suddenly blurted out that he loved me. The feeling wasn't mutual. Things got awkward, so I stopped answering his text messages.
That's not the way he explained it.
I know. He's telling everyone we were going out, and I dumped him for no reason. It's giving people completely the wrong idea.
Question. Why is Sarah annoyed with Bob?
Number 3.
What do you think about the big bribery case? Do you think the senator will plead guilty?
With all the evidence against him, he'd be a fool not to.
I don't know. I'd be surprised if he confesses.
But the odds are so stacked against him. The media exposed everything.
Yeah, but white-collar crime is complex. It's hard to pin down blame.
You don't think he'll get off, do you?
He's got a huge team of lawyers. If he does decide to fight the charges, who knows what'll happen?
Question. What does the woman think about the accused?
Number 4.
Craig! Glad I ran into you. Any truth in the rumor you're heading back to the States?
Next month, my wife got an offer she couldn't refuse. Head of marketing at a major multinational.
Wow. I hope you've got something lined up too. Maybe run your own software business?
Later, maybe, but I'm looking forward to being a house husband for a while.
Cool. Still, I imagine being back home will take some adjusting to. You've been in Japan over a decade, right?
Yeah, I'll miss this place, I guess.
Question. What are the man's immediate plans? Number 5.
Jack, is the photocopier working again?
It sure is. The service agent never made it, so Carol fixed it herself.
That Carol, she never ceases to amaze me, the way she can take care of almost anything around here.
Yeah, I sure hope the boss keeps that in mind when it's time for her annual performance review.
Question. What do we learn about Carol?
Number 6.
Honey, it's time we took the cat for his annual shots.
Can't it wait a month? Things are a little tight at the moment.
Well, doing it now means we might avoid more expensive problems down the road.
Our regular vet charges a lot. How about we try a new clinic?
I'd rather not. Doug's been our vet for years. I could ask about a payment plan, though.
You should do that. It would really help if we could sort it out in installments.
Question. What do these people decide to do?
Number 7.
What's with the limping, Mark?
Just a little knee injury. It happened at basketball training on Saturday.
You're not getting any younger, you know. You should slow down a bit.
No way. This is a wake-up call.
You think you should actually do more training?
It probably wouldn't have happened if I had more muscle protecting the joint. I need to do some weight training. I think I'll sign up at a gym.
I give up.
Question. What is the woman's opinion?
Number 8.
I'd like some information about your savings accounts.
Well, our Invest Plus account has averaged 5% interest over the last 4 years.
And what about this year?
The latest projections are positive, but rates are dependent on market performance.
Which means if the rate falls, I'll get next to nothing, right?
That's possible, but unlikely, sir.
I think I'd prefer an account with fixed rates.
Are you sure? Your potential return would be much smaller.
Yes, I'll pass on the Invest Plus account, thanks.
Question. Why does the man reject the Invest Plus account?
Number 9.
So, Ellen, Mom told me that you and Richard have been fighting.
Yeah, Dad, for about a year now.
What about?
Well, mainly about politics and religion.
That's not unusual, is it? Mom and I often disagree about such things.
Yes, but it's more than just disagreeing. He keeps pushing for my view on things, then gets upset when I don't agree with him. He's even shouted at me several times.
I don't like how that sounds. In any relationship, you've got to be tolerant about differences.
Exactly. Honestly, it's getting to the point where I'm having second thoughts about our relationship.
Have you thought about counseling?
I haven't told you this, Dad, but we've already tried that. 5 sessions to be exact. The counselor recommended to Richard that he consider anger management training.
How did he react?
He not only refused, He got mad at the counselor and stopped our sessions. For me, that was just about the last straw.
Well, maybe it's time to part ways.
Yeah, maybe. I'm at a loss as to what else to do.
The final decision is yours, honey. But at least you're not married and don't have any kids yet.
Question. What does Ellen's father think?
Number 10.
Emma, Trevor, today's the big day. We have to choose between the two designs for our new tablet.
Well, they both outperform our current model, Stuart. The high-spec model seems especially impressive. The issue is whether we can keep production costs low enough to make a profit. If not, we'll have to go with the low-spec one.
Trevor, any thoughts?
Well, like Emma said, they're both fantastic. The high-spec model's built-in camera works like magic, and the processor's lightning fast.
But
I'm worried it might eat into sales of our computers and digital cameras. That's not a worry with the low-spec model.
that's a legitimate concern, Trevor. However, our main competitor is producing a tablet that's nearly as sophisticated as the high-spec model and much more powerful than the low-spec one. Also, our next-generation PCs and cameras are just around the corner.
Yes, we might lose a few PC and camera sales at first, but we can't afford to lose ground in the tablet market. I have some ideas about changes to help lower production costs of the high-spec model. It looks like we should go with that one.
Question. What is Trevor's concern regarding the high-spec model?
Here are the directions for Part 2. In this part, you will hear 5 passages, A through E. Each passage will be followed by 2 questions, number 11 through number 20. For each question, you will have 10 seconds to choose the best answer and mark your answer on your answer sheet. The passage and the questions will be given only once. Now, let's begin.
A. Tiny species, big discoveries. In the past, biologists often discovered new forms of life by trekking in wilderness areas, or even by simply peering into a pool of water. These days, many people think that most easily detectable organisms have already been discovered. However, when new technologies are developed, numerous discoveries of previously unknown organisms often follow. A new method of analyzing DNA from multiple organisms at once, called genome binning, has already increased the number of known organisms by 50%. Biologist Chris Brown and a team of researchers have succeeded in identifying ultra-tiny bacteria in groundwater using genome binning. These life forms are so minute that they have redefined the boundary for what is believed to be the lower size limit of life. Brown believes that because their metabolic systems are so simple, they rely on other bacteria to carry out basic life-supporting processes, such as the production of amino acids. Although these bacteria have only recently been discovered, it is thought that they may be widespread and may even play a crucial role in microbial environments.
Questions. Number 11. What do we learn about new organisms? Number 12. What does Chris Brown believe about the ultra-tiny bacteria?
B. The ivory trade. An international ban on ivory has been in effect since 1990, but elephants face an uncertain future. Though the ban has been somewhat successful, the UN permitted a one-time only commercial sale of ivory stockpiles in several African nations that was completed in 2009. The sale was intended to help prevent the illegal hunting of elephants, and the profits were used for conservation efforts. Environmentalists, however, point out that the sale actually led to more elephants being killed unlawfully for their ivory. The environmentalists believe this happened because the sale gave consumers the impression that buying ivory was no longer taboo. A more recent development in the fight against the ivory trade was China's decision in 2017 to prohibit the sale and manufacture of all ivory products. Previously, the country had allowed ivory products to be made using existing ivory stocks, but its recent ban has led to a decline in Chinese demand, and therefore greatly reduced black market prices. Nevertheless, traders are illegally stockpiling ivory in the hope that prices will recover in the future. Elephants, therefore, continue to be killed, and the slaughter will likely continue without further, more extreme measures.
Questions. Number 13. What do environmentalists say happened after the 2009 ivory sale? Number 14. What has been one result of China's ban on ivory?
C. Coronal mass ejections. Coronal mass ejections, or CMEs, are huge eruptions on the Sun that shoot clouds of magnetized particles into space. These cloud storms have been known to hit Earth. The first recorded CME occurred in 1859 and was called the Carrington event. The storm struck Earth directly, and its electromagnetic currents damaged telegraph networks worldwide. Though a large CME could have a disastrous effect on today's technology-dependent world, it was long thought that the risk of another eruption was remote. Recent research, however, shows CMEs are not such a rare phenomenon, and the chance of a CME hitting Earth in the next decade is around 12%. In fact, Earth had a near miss in 2012, when a CME even greater than the Carrington event occurred. Had the CME occurred a week earlier, Earth's orbit would have placed it exactly in the CME's path, just as it was in 1859. Now, governments are turning their attention to protecting sensitive electronic equipment from the effects of CMEs. They are also improving their ability to detect CMEs, so they will be ready if a major one strikes Earth again.
Questions. Number 15. What has recent research discovered about CMEs? Number 16. What do we learn about the CME that occurred in 2012?
D. The Cobra effect. The Cobra effect is a term used to describe a situation where plans made by companies, organizations, or governments do not have the intended effect. The term originates in an old story about the government in Delhi, India, trying to reduce the number of cobras by offering a reward for the skins of dead ones. It is said that the program enjoyed initial success, but some people realized it was more profitable to breed their own cobras and kill them, rather than hunt wild ones. According to the story, the program was canceled when the government became aware of what was happening, but this made the situation even worse. The snake breeders released their cobras into the wild, greatly increasing the population of the snakes. In the Indian story, the reward did not produce the desired result. In the world of business, companies struggle to avoid the Cobra effect when introducing incentive-based strategies for improving productivity or increasing sales. One recommendation of experts is to base the payment of incentives on strict criteria regarding how the desired outcome has been achieved, rather than simply focusing on the outcome itself.
Questions. Number 17. According to the story, what was one problem with the Delhi government's program? Number 18. What is one way experts recommend companies avoid the Cobra effect?
E. Data centers. As the amount of data stored on the Internet has grown, the physical infrastructure that supports it has also expanded. Today, there are millions of data centers filled with servers that store information such as emails, photos, and documents. These servers create significant amounts of heat and require tremendous amounts of energy to keep them cool as they run. Most data centers also have numerous excess servers. These servers are left running to cope with any sudden increase in the number of users. However, critics say that since the majority of these extra machines are rarely needed, a huge amount of electricity is being used unnecessarily. Some data storage companies have redesigned their cooling systems or created more efficient servers, but the industry as a whole has been slow to change. Its competitive nature discourages the sharing of scientific and engineering know-how, as many companies fear rivals will get ahead of them technologically. Moreover, the engineers in charge of a data center may hesitate to experiment with new solutions, as a crash or slowdown could mean the end of their career. As public awareness of the problem grows, however, companies may be forced to cooperate as they search for solutions.
Questions. Number 19. What do critics say about data centers? Number 20. What is one reason the data center problem is hard to solve?
Here are the directions for Part 3. In this part, you will hear 5 passages, F through J. The passages represent real-life situations and may contain sound effects. Each passage will have one question, number 21 through number 25. Before each passage, you will have 10 seconds to read the situation and question written in your test booklet. After you hear the passage, you will have 10 seconds to choose the best answer and mark your answer on your answer sheet. The passage will be given only once. Now, let's begin.
F. You have 10 seconds to read the situation and question number 21.
This is Roberta from Durable Roofing. As requested, I checked your roof this morning. You were worried about the skylight, but the leaks are coming from the old chimney and the flat part of your roof. Since the chimney is no longer being used, it should be removed and replaced with roof tiles. That'll reduce leaks immediately. Now, the flat part is more complicated. It's only leaking in one place, and I could deal with that and the chimney for about $1,100. However, the rest of the flat roof is really showing its age and needs complete replacement soon, or it will cause additional problems. For $1,700, I could do the entire flat roof and the chimney with a 10-year warranty. The sloping roof area at the front is also a little worn. You could replace that for an additional $1,000, but it's not urgent. It has quite a few years left.
Now mark your answer on your answer sheet.
G. You have 10 seconds to read the situation and question number 22.
I've had a good look at your operation. Overall, it'll be important to avoid creating tension between local staff and Australian management. It's great that you've been increasing expenditures on intercultural communication training for your managers. Still, different management styles, as well as limited access to management positions for locals in foreign offices, can cause problems down the line. With that in mind, it's worth considering hiring managers from the local area. If you start looking now, you could open your office in 6 months with a team of fully trained Filipino managers. If it's more urgent, an alternative would be to send some current managers from here over to the Philippines for a year. They could keep the office running smoothly and focus on providing management training to local staff, who could then take over once the Australian managers return home.
Now mark your answer on your answer sheet.
H. You have 10 seconds to read the situation and question number 23.
You have a serious sprain, but if you follow my advice, you'll be okay to run the race. Keep the leg elevated for at least the next 2 days, and avoid putting your weight on it. Also, use ice packs daily. You can start an exercise rehabilitation program after that. When you start the rehab, begin by going to a gym and walking slowly on a flat treadmill for a week. Don't be tempted to do more exercise than that. After a week, try walking on a slight incline on the treadmill, and you can jog very gently if all feels good. You should use the incline for at least 2 weeks. After that, you should spend 2 weeks gently jogging outside. If that goes well, you'll then be able to resume your usual training.
Now mark your answer on your answer sheet.
I. You have 10 seconds to read the situation and question number 24.
Another employee who worked with Peter at a different company has informed us that he was fired from that previous company. I contacted them and they confirmed that he presented material copied from other sources as his own work. We could fire him for not telling us, but I believe in giving people a second chance. Still, my concern is whether he might do the same thing here, which, of course, would be grounds for dismissal. Can you go over the work he's been involved with? If you find anything of concern, we'll place him on administrative leave until we can evaluate it. I know that you get on well with him, but it's important to keep this between us for now. Once we have all the facts in place, I'd like you to prepare a formal report of your conclusions for review by me and the Board of Directors.
Now, mark your answer on your answer sheet.
J. You have 10 seconds to read the situation and question number 25.
Sophie's sneezing and producing fluid from her eyes and nose. The fluid is clear, so I don't think there's a bacterial infection. The worst case would be an obstruction in her respiratory system, which a CT scan would reveal. It's likely to be something simpler, though, so let's start elsewhere. She should be tested for allergies, if that hasn't been done within the past year. Also, you said her teeth have never been professionally cleaned. Dental problems can certainly affect the respiratory system, so it's worth a try. We can pull any teeth that look problematic. Her breed is also known to have a condition where the immune system starts to attack itself, which causes excess fluid to be produced in the respiratory system. It can be managed with steroids and other drugs. Let's look into that if the other options fail.
Now mark your answer on your answer sheet.
Finally, here are the directions for Part 4. In this part, you will hear an interview. The interview will be followed by 2 questions, number 26 and number 27. For each question, you will have 10 seconds to choose the best answer and mark your answer on your answer sheet. The interview and the questions will be given only once.
This is an interview with James Norton, a communications consultant working in Japan.
Welcome to the show, James.
Thank you very much.
So, could you tell us a little bit about what you actually do?
I'm a communications consultant. A communications consultant advises companies on how they can use their public voice to support the development of their business, to help sell their products, and to build better relationships with their customers.
Okay, that's interesting. But how would you say their work actually differs from an advertising agency?
An advertising company is basically trying to take an image of a product and sell a message about that product. As a communications consultant, what we're trying to do is to look at what is a company's core vision, what is its core strategy, and we're trying to help the company develop what is a means of telling the story about that strategy or its vision, and how do its products fulfill that vision. How do they help the customer? How do they provide added value?
Okay. What is one of the main challenges you face in your work?
Most of my clients are foreign companies. My biggest client is a Japanese company. So once a Japanese company begins to understand what they can do with a communications approach, then they go all in and they're very keen to use it. But all of my other customers are all foreign companies operating here who have an understanding from their home country of how they want to communicate. And in Japan, they try to replicate that strategy here with some adjustments. And I think the biggest challenge for them is crossing from a Western mindset where talking to the media and establishing media relationships is normal to a country where that is relatively less developed.
Okay. Do you think companies pay enough attention to managing their image and reputation?
I don't think that they do, but I think that the way that the law is changing in Japan and the way that financial markets are looking at the behavior of companies, those companies that have not yet spent much time talking about their reputation or looking at their communication strategy are having to start to think about it. I think recently we have seen very big asset management companies openly talking about what they expect from companies that they invest in. They expect companies to manage their reputation. They don't want companies to have crises. They don't want companies to have any kind of issues that would cause problems for their customers or for users of the product. And certainly they don't want any issues that would affect safety.
All right.
And because financial companies are under a great deal of pressure to produce returns for pension funds and other investors, they want to see management at companies that they invest in develop a significant and consistent performance improvement each year. And if they don't see that, they are very apt to ask questions as to why the performance is not improving. So all of this adds up to the need for a company to have to think about Why is it in business? What is it trying to achieve? Who is it trying to achieve that for?
Thank you very much, James, for talking to us today.
Good to speak to you.
Questions. Number 26. What is one thing that James says about his clients? Number 27. What is one observation James makes about the business world?
Your time is up. Stop writing and wait quietly until the answer sheets have been collected.
では、時間です。筆記用具を置いて答えの記入をやめてください。これにて試験終了となります。公正なる試験実施にご協力いただきありがとうございました。質問がある方は直ちに試験監督者にお申し出ください。試験監督者に連絡いたします。これより最終の受験者数を確認してください。その後、回答用紙を回収し、枚数の確認を行ってください。なお、問題冊子は回収しません。受験者数と回答用紙の枚数の一致を確認してから解散の指示を出してください。受験者の皆さんは身の回りをよく点検し、忘れ物がないように注意してください。受験者の皆さんが退出するときは別の教室が試験中の場合もありますので、声を出さず会場出口まで静かに退出してください。それでは解散の指示を出すまで静かにお待ちください。